to the plate. Not looking for casuals, looking for debate. Fluent versus chill versus everyone. Break it down till the best one wins. More fluent every time we talk, that's not ridiculous. Let us hear your thoughts, walk.
I want to put it out there. Right and early that I had a phenomenal, like ridiculous, amazing outro that I was going to debut on today's show, and I mistakenly
Screwed it up.
I deleted it.
Did you screw it up?
I can't find it. I deleted it.
Oh boy.
Oh, the old delete the file before the project is due.
Yeah, and my dog ate my homework. So, fortunately, I've got another one that's okay, but it's not quite as good. So I promise for next week that what I think to be. Oh wait, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's here. I did.
It's
I
back.
do have even better. Oh, I thought I deleted it. This is fantastic. I want the show to end right now so we can go straight to the outro. No. All right.
You did the same thing for my show, by the way.
Yeah.
What I do?
So you deleted like the intro for my original theme song, but luckily I had it saved, so I was able to.
Oh, I didn't.
Do it. I just like a year ago. I'm pretty sure you did.
Oh, a year. Oh, yes, that one. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
That's because you didn't know you were fired. That's how they get you. We always joke in the corporate world. They're like, if you ever are called to a meeting and there's more than one manager present and or an 8-person from HR, leave your laptop at home. But
this is true. He's not lying.
True.
It's for another day. All right, Jay, how you doing?
I was doing some homework, and I got this debate coming up. Do you know that Jabbar and Magic, throughout the course of their career, the 10 seasons that they played together, they averaged 75 games?
Duo. They're playing a lot.
Duo. They averaged 75 games.
I didn't know that specifically, but I'm not surprised.
Jabbar averaged almost 70 in the 10 years that he played with Magic. He averaged 79 games per season.
Man.
Did you know that in the 11 years between 79-80 season, his first season, and the 91 season when they went to the finals against the Bulls, that Magic never had a season where he didn't win at least 50 games?
I didn't know that, but that's the Western Conference, boy. You don't want to have a conversation.
So that's a dynasty, because apparently the Spurs are a dynasty because they kept winning 50 games every year.
Yeah, but the Spurs wasn't
a dynasty in 91 when the Bulls knocked them off. Ori, we're 30 seconds over. Fluent versus chill versus everyone. I changed the background again. I think you are first up. Chris, will you be our timekeeper, sir?
Sounds good.
Good. All right. Sweet.
Out of it today. Are you good? Are you good?
Me?
Yeah, I'm
Chris.
fine. Very much a long day. Yeah, my car broke down 2 weeks ago, and then I had to do two call dealerships. So I literally just got home from like the entire, and then I went to my cousin's basketball game. So yeah, I got home from the entire day. So
do you need me?
So he basically walking in the game while the game's going on. He putting his jersey on and tying up his shorts while the game's going on.
Yeah, I'm wearing what I wore to school today. Yeah, collared shirt. So yes.
Do you want me to call it for you? Like, I know I got some peeps in the car dealership where
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Like I've narrowed it down to so yeah. So I'm pretty sure I'm good. But thank you. Thank you for asking. Yeah.
All right. Let me know. All right, or it's you.
Excellent. All right. Well, to start off, just want to say hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. Glad we started. Let's go. I don't know if you saw it. You follow X. I'm on X a lot. Dwight Howard today came out with a post, and he said that his era was, in fact, the golden era of the NBA. Now, I don't necessarily agree, but I'm curious if we send it to you guys. I want Fluent to argue that Dwight Howard's era was the best era.
Can we define what his era is? And then
Yeah, sure. I guess based on Dwight Howard's premise, it looked like he was basically going from when he was drafted to probably about 2015, before the Steph Curry thing took off.
So 05 to 2015.
He was kind of like in that scenario, yeah.
Okay.
Because he was naming people like Melo and Wade, and
Okay.
And then I would like Chilltown to dealer's choice. I want him to argue for another era that was better than Dwight Howard's era.
Sure. Absolutely. Am I up first?
Let's go. Yeah, chill. Go first. Start.
Okay, so Dwight Howard says his era was the golden era. When I think about the golden era, I think about an era that's untouchable. Well, first of all, Dwight, you're a big man. And as a big man, the big man was dying during your era. In fact, the big man did die during your era. And he died during your era because the long ball became more prevalent. You weren't able to do that. So now we're pushing the game further from the basket. Not only are we pushing the game further from the basket, guys like you aren't nearly as effective as you used to be. Guys like Steph Curry are more effective. Now we're moving into the era of the wings. Now, it's the golden era for small forwards. It's the golden era for guards. Sure, it absolutely is. But for big men, it is not, which is what you are. So that completely defeats the purpose of you actually being around. Now, the golden era for bigs would be you. Talking about the 90s, because that would be perfect for you, because during that time, Olajuwon was running around. The Diesel was running around. David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning. That would be the golden era. For guys like you, you were almost irrelevant during that time, even though you did win a couple of awards, but the game was moving so far away from you being the turnover machine that you were on the box. Not only were you a turnover machine on the box, you couldn't stretch the defense, which is the way the game was moving toward. You as a big man, you and your game was dying. I mean, as good as you were, and as much as the game was moving away from the basket, and as better as guys were getting as bucket getters, you were only able to average 21 a game. So it being the golden era, it was the golden era for other guys. It definitely wasn't the golden era for you. You were somebody who was a dying breed. You were becoming a dinosaur. Guys like Shaq were getting moved out. You were getting moved out. Enter Steph Curry, Steve Nash, big guards, not only big guards, big forwards like Dirk Nowitzki, Tim Duncan, guys like that. That's what made that era awesome. Not guys like you, unfortunately. So if it was the golden era, I can tell you what it wasn't. It wasn't the golden era for you, sir.
Is that his 3 minutes? All right. So, I don't agree with Dwight Howard very often. And since I need to agree with him in this instance, because this is what I'm debating, I'm going to go with he's right. He's absolutely correct. It was the golden era. It was the golden era because it was right in the middle. It was right in the middle of the old heads' love of defense and tough-nosed basketball with inside-outside play. And it's right before what everybody calls the soft era, the three-point shooting kind of era where everybody was jacking up, 35 threes a game like they are today. So in that 05 to 15 era, not only did you have the higher level of skill set, talent, players like LeBron, KD, Dwight Howard, Kobe. Like, you literally had guys who are going to finish off as top 10 players when it's all said and done, multiple ones, in an era where we had the big man, although, okay, they were fading out a little bit, but we had the big man. We had zone defenses. We had zone schemes, so they had the tougher the offense had to deal with tougher defenses because now they didn't have the legal defense. They didn't have to, commit to the double team. They could play some zone, forcing them to shoot. And guess what they did? They shot the ball better. In fact, in that 10-year span, the three-point percentage, I believe, was as good, if not a little bit better than it has been over the last 5 or 10 years. So they were shooting the threes at about 20, 25 a game. So the elite three-point shooting. You still had some of the big men. You still had some of the defense because although it was the transition to the freedom of movement era, let's be honest, the refs just were just going through the, hey, hand checking was abolished in 04-05, I think, but you have zone defenses. They were letting them get away with it. So they were still tough defensively. They were physical, but they were shooting threes. They were more skilled. They were moving up and down the court with some of the all-time greatest players playing in that era as well. This was the elite defense, elite offense, elite players. You know what? Dwight Howard's right. That was the golden era of basketball. It was after the clutch and grab and before the three-point barrage. He's 100% right.
Interesting you say that, Tone, because 2004, which is when he showed up until, I believe, 2010, was one of the slowest eras, which is why they changed the rules for freedom of movement, because they were sick of seeing 89, 85 games. They were sick of seeing 90 to 87 games. They were tired of seeing this slow pace. They were tired of seeing guys just walk the ball up the floor and dump the ball into the post. Just so you know, Tone, in 2005, 2006, that, if I'm not mistaken, that 7 seconds or less offense, that offense today in 2026 is last in the NBA. Last at the very bottom of the NBA. They're not even close to what was going on. So now I got guys like Steve Nash. Don't get me wrong. I got guys like Steve Nash winning the league MVP in back-to-back seasons, by the way, who everybody, not just some people, everybody think that that's nonsense that he won league MVP in back-to-back seasons. Meanwhile, in the 1990s, I got big men actually ruling, which is what Dwight Howard, I would think, would say that was the golden era, and he would have loved to play during that time, because at this time when he's playing, I got guys like DeAndre Jordan being first-team All-Pro, and he didn't even make the All-Star team. But your era is the best era during that time. So I got guys like Joakim Noah being the defensive player of the year, who I think he was fantastic as a defensive player. I'm not going to argue that point. But we still are playing in a slower era. We're playing in a more freedom of movement era. We're playing in an era where guys can't put their hands on other guys. As physical as you want to say it was, it actually wasn't nearly that physical. Free throws were up, and the reason why free throws was up because you couldn't put hands on guys. Guys did not have to play through contact. In addition to guys not having to play through contact, that wasn't conducive to Dwight Howard's game because he wasn't able to be as physical as he possibly can be. That's why guys like DeAndre Jordan, that's why guys like Al Jefferson were making the All-Pro team, because now these guys are getting moved away from the basket and they have to be more skilled, even though they're not. I mean, Al Jefferson, in his own right, was really skilled, but with that being said, he wasn't nearly what Lonzo Mourning was or what Shaq was, what any of those guys was. And then we're talking about power forwards, which is the golden era in the 1990s with Duncan, with Garnett, with Malone, with Barkley, with Antonio McDyess, with Dirk Nowitzki showing up in 1999. All of these guys, when they show up to the end, all of these guys, did I miss somebody? I'm sorry, I might have missed somebody. When all of these guys, when they show up, that era makes the era of basketball even better. Dwight, I would think that you would talk about eras, you as a big man, being those kind of eras where big men thrive, not when you guys were dying.
I don't even know what era you're arguing for, but you were wrong. In that 10-year span between 05 to 15, they averaged, for the 10 years, 17 free throws a game. This year, 18.6. The years before that era, 19 and 20. So actually, they weren't averaging more free throws. They were averaging less free throws. And you mentioned Joakim Noah, who won a depoy. Marc Gasol, you didn't mention, who won a depoy. What are those guys? Those are big men. So not only do you have these big men brooding slow, you have them shooting 20, 25 three-pointers a game. You're actually, all the points you made are exactly tells my story, which is, it was the perfect combination of the old school toughness, slow pace, big man, and the introduction of the 7-second offense, where guys are running and gunning and shooting threes. So depending on the style of team you had, the style of player you had, the coach that you had, you were actually able to play an old school style or an up play style. Whereas now, if you ain't shooting 33s a game, you're lost. That's why there's so many blowouts. Poor Jalen is sitting here going, oh man, every night's a blowout. Well, yeah, because if you shoot 50% from three and you shoot 50 of them, you're going to blow the other team out. And when you shoot 20% from three and you shoot 50 of them, you're going to get blown out. This era allowed you to play inside out or outside in, and you had coaches like Tibbs, who were defensive coaches, slow it down. Then you had coaches like D'Antoni, who were like, no, we're going to speed this up and we're going to go. It was the first time ever in the history of the NBA that you were able to mix both styles, and I don't think we'll ever see it again.
All right.
Love it.
So
What? I don't even know. I still don't know what era you were arguing.
He's a big man. I was arguing the 90s.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. At first, I was like, wait, and then he did mention the 90s after.
Did he? Oh, I didn't hear the
90s in the second round. Yeah.
all right, or your prompt. So I get So I guess you'll be the judge first.
I get to go first. All right. Well, I think you both did an excellent job per usual. I before this was thinking more like the 90s, but not gonna lie, Fluent, you convinced me. I genuinely think that you made some compelling arguments, and that era, it fits the requirements for being a golden era. So yeah, Fluent.
Yes, so let's go.
So, so the prompt was a little confusing to me, given that's I feel like a lot of people obviously it was a very typical ex-NBA player talking about how their era was always the best. And when Dwight says his era was the golden era, like obviously people are going to debate as to why it was the best golden era. Fluent did a great job of like talking about the pros and like more so like, obviously just the pros of like the fact that it was a fantastic mix. And Chill did a great job as far as it goes for explaining why it wasn't the golden era for Dwight's. And I feel like that was even though they were good points. I feel like it didn't really fully address the prompts, given that he was only talking about the big man role, which just because something isn't the golden age for the big man role, could be the golden age for every other position. So since that's the case, I am going to give the edge to Fluent there.
Let's go.
Yep. That was a good one. Both made good points. I like Chill bringing up DeAndre Jordan, Joakim Noah, winning awards, really kind of showcasing how that era was pretty rough for big man. But I do think Fluent answered the question more direct, where I think Chill focused a lot on the big man and Dwight Howard. Fluent bringing up how versatile the era is. And really, I liked how he talked about from 2005 to 2015. It really was the bridge, right? I think the 3-point era really came. It really kind of started at 2015, 2014, right at the end of this era, and it was slowly going there, while still, like you mentioned, the toughness was there in the early eras, and it really just kind of, you get the best of both worlds, basically what he said, right? And I think that was a really good argument for why this would be a very unique era and why it would be the golden era. So I think Fluent's going to get a sweep on this one. Fluent with sweep on this one.
Is that the first sweep, I think?
Swept.
Let's
go. 2 weeks.
Whew, all right. So I'm just gonna put it out there that there's some people in the chat saying, "Where's the link? I got a topic." So let us know your topic.
Hey, throw it in there, chat.
So or actually, you know what? Here, let me do this. I'll put the link in. If I can, I don't even know. Am I doing this right? They changed something in the chat. All right, I'll put the link in. If you want to come up and do the debate, here's what you have to do. You come in to the link. In the private chat, you say, I want to debate Fluent and Chill, Fluent or Chill. I want to debate all 5 of you. I want to debate the judges because they don't know anything. This is the topic, and then you get to come up. Until someone does that, it is, I believe, to Chris.
Yep. So we're going to do another cross eras debate, actually. Obviously, this debate hasn't sparked up in a little bit. I don't know why it hasn't. I guess it's because it isn't. We're not really comparing all-time teams, but I do know that last year, a lot of people were saying that the 2025 OKC Thunder were one of the best teams of all time. Even though that is the case, I feel like nobody really actually brought up the actual the classic debate, I should say. So. The classic debate being who would win in a 7-game series, the 2017 Warriors or the 1996 Bulls. I believe I'm going to go with I'm going to have Fluent argue 2017, and then I'm going to have the 2017 Warriors, and I'm going to have Chill debate the 96 Bulls. So since Chill won first last time, I guess I'll have Fluent go first this time.
All right. So the 2017 Warriors versus the 96 Bulls. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay. All right, so I got the Warriors, and perfect, because the Warriors play my style of basketball, which is fantastic. They have something that the Bulls don't have, which is 3-point shooting. And at the end of the day, you can argue till the cows come home, 3 will always be worth more than 2. So you have an elite, one of, if not the greatest point guards of all time in Steph Curry, who is the greatest shooter of all time. Not even debatable, the greatest shooter of all time. At shooting guard, you have Klay Thompson, who is maybe the best catch and shoot 3-point shooter of all time, arguably, if not the greatest, one of the greatest. You then have Kevin Durant, who is another top 10 player of all time, but also arguably the greatest scorer of all time. You can say he's the greatest or he's top 3 either way. So you've got the greatest shooter of all time, the greatest catch and shoot player of all time, and one of the greatest scorers of all time. Now let's throw into the mix Draymond Green, who's going to go down as one of the greatest defenders of all time, who facilitates the offense. And then you have guys like Iguodala and all these other pieces around them, role players, to all of this greatness. not only is this team elite at scoring, but they're also elite defensively. Check the stats. So you have a team that can score at multiple positions. You have a team that can defend at multiple positions. You also have a coach in Steve Kerr who, oh, by the way, he's playing on that 96 team, so he knows the offense inside and out. And what did we know about 96, 97, and 98 Bulls? Well, they were very one-dimensional. Jordan scored. Pippen was the all-around kind of guy who facilitated the offense and defended. Rodman rebounded. Rodman averaged 4 points a game and rebounded. So we're not really worried. So they're playing 4-on-5 every time that they're on the offensive end against an elite defense. So yeah, maybe the Bulls could shut down one of the players at a certain time, but they can't shut them all down. So a team that can slow down their best player, look, you're not going to stop Michael Jordan, but you can make his life a little bit more difficult. And then a team that can score at every position. Look, the series goes 7, but it goes 7 to the one.
So I think it's interesting you bring up those points about Draymond and all of these players. So really quickly, Ori, I'm gonna give you a quick rundown. So the Chicago Bulls in the 1995-96 season, they had the best player in the league. They had the best all-around player in the league. They had the best rebounder in the league. They had the best rotation guy in the league. They had the second best marksman in the league. And they had the best coach in the league. Wow, boy, that sounds like a good-ass team. So how are we going to beat this Warriors team, right? How are we going to beat this Warriors team? This Warriors team was a juggernaut. They shot the long ball. They played in the mid-range. Not only did they play in the mid-range, they were a great team on the glass. Well, we got the best rebounder in the league, so we're going to slow down their second-chance opportunities. In addition to slowing down their second-chance opportunities, we have a guy in Klay Thompson who's one of the best catch-and-shoot guys that the league has ever seen, if not the best catch-and-shoot guy that the league has ever seen. Well, how do you slow down a shooter? Well, the way you slow down a shooter is you keep the ball away from him. Ron Harper can do that. Scottie Pippen can do that. So then I got a guy so now I have a guy in Steph Curry who's one of the best, not one of the best, let me rephrase that, the best shooter that the NBA has ever seen. Off the bounce is ridiculous. Not only is it off the bounce ridiculous, catch and shoot is ridiculous. So how do I slow him down? Well, Steph Curry has always, throughout the course of his career, struggled with length and athleticism. Enter Ron Harper. I'm going to chase him around. I'm going to do everything that I can to, one, keep the ball away from him and to make him make tough shots. Draymond Green, who, if I'm not mistaken, Tone said Dennis Rodman averaged 4 points. Draymond averaged 8 points. And you know what's going to happen when Draymond averages that? What happens with that 8 points? Dennis Rodman's going to make that 8 points almost 0. And he could very well get kicked out the series because Dennis Rodman is going to get into that noggin. No question about that. And then we go into your rotation guys. You got great guys like Sean Livingston. I'm not going to argue that point. You got guys like Iguodala, but I got the best rotation player in the league, and Tony Kukoc, who is one of the most versatile offensive players in the game, who can stretch the defense, who can shoot the long ball. With all of that being said, these guys, I had Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, and Dennis Rodman in 1996. All three of these guys, first team all-league defenders. How many teams in NBA history have had that? 0. So we are going to do everything that we can to slow you down. And who do I trust in the meat and potatoes of the game more? Because these games are going to be close. Who do I trust in the meat and potatoes of the game more with the basketball? Steph Curry or Michael Jordan? I'm going to let you answer that.
I trust Kevin Durant. Because you completely forgot about
Durant wasn't on that crew in 16. He
said the 17 Warriors. Kevin Durant was absolutely on that team. Sure. So I had this if LeBron's the greatest, I had the second greatest player in the league in Kevin Durant. I had the top 5 greatest player in the league at the time in Steph Curry. So not only did I have one guy in the top 5, I had 2 guys in the top 5. You talk about off the bench. Oh, Iguodala was what in 6th Man of the Year award? 2nd. So I also had a great guy coming off the bench, but in my guy, unlike Tony Kukoc, also played defense. I wasn't some European dude that just liked to shoot the long ball. I got dirty and I played defense. That's why I was asked to guard LeBron James. Ain't no big man named LeBron James on the Bulls, so I don't got to deal with that size and athleticism. Pippen was skinny. He'd body him no problem.
Sure.
On top of that, I had, you mentioned Draymond Green. Draymond Green averaged 10 points a game in the regular season, 13 points a game in the playoffs, not 8. So I've got the long ball. I've got defense. I've got, ball handling. Ron Harper is going to look like a statue if he tries to guard Steph Curry, blow him by him. There ain't no chance. I didn't even talk about Klay Thompson being a 3-and-D guy. I only talked about his threes. Who led the league in steals that season? Oh, Draymond Green. So yeah, maybe Rodman gets him kicked out, but guess who else is getting kicked out with him?
Mhm.
Dennis Rodman. So that's fine. We get rid of both of them, no problem.
Mhm.
Then you lose all your rebounding because he's the only guy. Your players, with the exception of Scottie Pippen, are all one-dimensional. You don't have any shooting. Steve Kerr, he's the most accurate three-point shooter in the sure, except he takes like 2-3 a game. He was averaging like 4 or 5 points. You know what else he was doing? He nothing defensively. Trash. Oh, and by the way, we're gonna play with the legal size 3-point line, not the one that you had in 96. We're gonna move it back up to the 22-9. So all your 3-point shooting gone, because that's when you guys learned how to shoot threes, is when it was shorter little baby three. So we've got the best shooters, the better defenders, the more talent top to bottom. We didn't even talk about Jaja Pachulia, Sean Livingston, the one of the best mid-range shooters ever. I think I saw something on TikTok that said he was the best. So we've got and we were also tested. We played against tougher competition. Like the 90s plumbers, give me a break. I had to beat LeBron in the finals. I had to beat Kobe. I had to be like the Western Conference juggernauts to get the Tim Duncan in the Spurs. For me to get to the finals, the Houston second offense of the Rockets and James Harden, like my road to the final was tougher, and the player in the final was the greatest player of all time in LeBron James. I had tougher competition. You guys would be a cakewalk.
Interesting that you mentioned the competition.
I'm gonna give Jordan some bad pizza. He'll have bubble guts and be done. We won the series because nobody else scored.
Interesting you mentioned the competition that we had to go through to get to the NBA championship. Can you tell everybody who they beat in the Eastern Conference Championship, who they swept, by the way, in the Eastern Conference Championship? Anthony Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal, both first-team All-Pros. Can you tell me who they beat in the NBA championship that year? This is Gary Payton, who was the Defensive Player of the Year that year. Scottie Pippen finished second in Defensive Player of the Year that year, too. So we're talking about defense. And with all of that,
Gary Payton. Oh no.
With all of that being said, so I have length and athleticism on the wing. I got Michael Jordan at 6'6". I got Ron Harper at 6'6". I got Scottie Pippen at 6'7", almost 6'8". I got Tony Kukoc as one of the better ball handlers, one of the better stretch, not D&3 guys, but one of the best stretch bigs in the game. Can definitely drag small guys into the post and drag bigger guys away from the basket. I also have the triangle offense, which you brought up. I got the triangle offense, which Luke Longley was really good in the triangle offense. Scottie Pippen was fantastic in the triangle offense. Each one of these guys, their game was conducive to running the triangle offense. I had Steve Kerr, who was one of the best marksmen. In fact, the second best marksman statistically in the game. And if any of these games are close, to my point, if any of these games are close at the end, I trust Michael Jordan more than I trust anybody else on the floor, more than I trust Kevin Durant, more than I trust Steph Curry, more than I trust Scottie Pippen. I trust Michael Jordan. And with that being said, these games are going to be close because this team was one of the best defensive teams in the game. We're getting one stop because I got the best rebound in the game. I got one of the best wing rebounders in the game in Scottie Pippen. I got one of the best guard rebounders in the game in Michael Jordan. I got one of the best defensive players in the game in Ron Harper. And I got a band of guys in terms of big guys, Tony Kukoc, this big lineup that I deal with Dennis Rodman, where I can slow you down and get one stop and not allow you to get second chance opportunities because you're going to destroy me if you do. And I'm not going to allow you to just sit at the long ball line or sit in the mid range and knock down shots. I'm not going to do that, which would explain why we're going to beat you guys in 6 games.
All right. Heated as per usual. Love to see that. And obviously, yeah.
See, I gotta find my glasses. Chill. What'd you do with my glasses, bro?
He took them. He borrowed him stateside.
Yep. So so obviously it's a classic question. It's a cross errors question. How they would do it is always an interesting topic. Obviously, Fluent took it in the approach of the Warriors. Obviously they adapt to it well. 3 is greater than 2, which it obviously is. But however, I feel like the one thing that Chill did better is actually debates. Because the question isn't who is the better team or who would play better in today's era. The question is who would win head to head. Who would win? And I feel like Chill addressed that more given on a matchups basis. So I'll give the edge to Shelltown here.
Look, first round, Chill got knocked out. Fluent hit him with a KO. Then Chill got back up and hit Fluent with the Sonny Liston right. Fluent got knocked out this one. I like the best coach in the league, best rebounder in the league, best player in the league. Last shot. I mean, look, we're fourth quarter. We're all taking Jordan over Steph, Durant, Clay, and all those boys. So that was a great point. Triangle offense, the role players playing in that offense. Great point. I think the Phil Jackson play was key too. I do think Phil Jackson, Steve Kerr.
Gave me Steve Kerr as a coach. What am I supposed to?
Exactly. You have to work what you work with, but
They gave me
best
a
coach in the
bum.
league. You know, he mentioned best coach in the league. That's
He's a
that
bum.
gap. You know, that gap is probably bigger than the Jordan Durant, Jordan Curry gap, even, right? So, yeah, we're gonna give it to Chilltown on this one.
I even tried to lie and say Kerr knows the triangle offense.
I know,
Sneak
right?
it in there. Sneak it in there. You got
Sneak
nothing
it
to
in
lose.
there. Man, that was great. You guys are good. This is fun. That was a good classic heavyweight battle. I like the boxing analogy. That being said, if this is a boxing analogy, then Chilltown did get the KO today. This particular question, he sold me on 2 points. He sold me on the Dennis Rodman is gonna drive Draymond Green through a wall and he's gonna punch somebody. That's important because I think Draymond gets kicked out first before Rodman does. I think Rodman, despite all his, him, I think he could keep his cool better than Draymond could. So I think he's out first. And then secondly, the point about just in the clutch. Yeah. Jordan versus Curry or Durant. I really, if you admitted yourself, you
Talk about it. I'm with it.
You admitted yourself it would go 7 games. So if it's going 7 games, then I'm giving the edge to Jordan.
Jordan's never been in a game 7 in a final, so he doesn't know what to do. He'd lose.
Yeah.
Warriors average 10 more points per game. Come on, man.
Who said their defense went out? That was a good one, though. So now we're tied up. We're tied up 1-1. Now we're on to the third round. Winner take all, baby. This is for all the marbles.
So we have we had someone in the chat that Jay Roebuck, who apparently was supposed to come up and battle. So because Jalen, it is your topic, you get to choose. So here's what we have. So Jay Roebuck did not come in. We have 2 people who are backstage. One is saying Tracy McGrady versus Jason Tatum, but Mr. Fernandez, we need more information.
We also have another guy right here.
I think it says peak for peak.
Oh, peak for peak.
Yep.
I don't know which players he's talking about though.
Tracy McGrady.
Tracy McGrady.
McGrady, peak for peak.
And Jason Tatum.
Okay,
Jalen, you get to pick. Do you want Jay to do peak for peak?
Oh, my question's way better than this one, though.
Okay.
This is like for 5th graders.
And plus, I'm not arguing against Jason Tatum. I'm not doing that. Let's be clear.
Shout out to the question, but this the big leagues, man.
I know he wanted to do it with me. I'm the guy who says Tracy McGrady shouldn't even be in the Hall of Fame, so I don't know that. I'll do it. I'll do it. Like I just did 2 that I didn't believe in. So you literally gave me 2 in a row that I don't believe in. But okay, let's go with your question then if it's better.
We'll bring it up after this one. Yeah, this one takes a little bit more basketball knowledge. You know what I mean? So we're talking head coaches. We'll have a little head coach debate here. We're gonna go. So we're gonna talk about 2 all-time greats. Talking Greg Popovich, Pat Riley, both 5 championships, right? 5 championships. Which one of these coaches should have won more? Who should have won maybe another championship or 2? Which one of these coaches gave away championships that they should have won? They both have 5, right? So both top 10 coaches without a doubt. Who failed more or should have won more? So we got Fluent. He's going to debate that Greg Popovich should have won more. And Chill is going to debate that Pat Riley should have won more.
Mm-hmm.
And Chill going to go first in this one.
No, I'm not.
Alrighty.
You are.
You took me for this? What?
Yes.
Take TV for this? Oh, man.
You got Greg Popovich and Chill's got Pat Riley.
Let's get it.
And since you weren't ready, we'll let Chill go first. My man, you want me to pick against the era that I don't like. Then you had me go up against my Bulls versus the Warriors.
Your Bulls. Come on, you hate that team.
I hate the team. I meant not the era. The team that I think would win is what I'm saying. Yes. I would pick the Bulls over the Warriors. So you made me pick 2 people that against what I actually believe. So and then you want me to go against my coach and Pat Riley, the guy who brought my Lakers championships? Nah, It's on you. Phil, make me proud. And Pat Riley.
Mhm. So I'm going to start the conversation with Pat Riley should have won more NBA championships, considering he had the talent to do so. So he won in 82. Really, even though he didn't know what he was doing. In 83, he completely botched this thing. And the reason why he botched it is because he left Jabbar alone with Moses Malone, who completely destroyed him. Everybody knows that when you got a big man that's destroying another big man, you have to send the help. You got to switch up your defense. He didn't do that. He never really adjusted to the zone. He never really helped double team on Moses Malone, who was never a good passer out of the post. He could pass, but he wasn't a good passer out of the post. And so instead, he left him down there by himself with Malone. On top of that, the rebounders that he had, they weren't able to help Jabbar because they were too busy on the wings helping those other guys. And on top of that, I can't remember the guy's name, but he comes off the bench for the Philadelphia 76ers, who they weren't prepared for, and he gives them like 20, and they end up winning game 3, which is a decisive game. Then we move to 84. They definitely should have beat the Boston Celtics. In fact, they should have swept the Celtics. But in 84, what does Pat Riley do? But in the tragic Magic game in 84, which is game 2 when Magic ran the clock out, we shouldn't even got to overtime. Why shouldn't we have gotten overtime? Number one, he shouldn't have called timeout when Kevin McHale missed those shots. Why? We already got the lead. So we don't need to call timeout. We need the clock to keep running. And instead of advancing the basketball, which he didn't, we got the ball on the baseline, and James Worthy ends up turning the basketball over. Now we go into overtime. Then in 84, if I'm not mistaken, they just got roughed up. They got roughed up more than anything, and they just got outclassed. Then we moved to 86 when they should have beat the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets had no business beating the Lakers in that series. But Olajuwon, not just Olajuwon, but guys like Robert Reed, they were just so much better, so much more physical. And it ended up being a wash. He should have won more than he did. Yes, he should have.
That's the buzzer. Your time's up. I pushed the wrong button. All right, Jalen, you've got.
How much time do I get?
You've got 3 minutes to tell us about Greg Popovich.
Greg Popovich gets blessed with Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, 3 all-time great players. And what does he do in the 2013 NBA Finals? Game 6. Game is all locked up. He forgets to put in the greatest power forward of all time to get a rebound from the Heat's missed shot. That one rebound takes away that Ray Allen 3. He gave away that championship off a call that any 10-year-old league coach like Fluent could have made. You put in Tim Duncan in the game to get that rebound. You put in Tim Duncan in the game for defense when other team needs a big bucket. That's an amateur mistake by Greg Popovich. One championship given away. No other great coach in NBA history has given away a championship like that. They've made mistakes. It happens. But give away a championship at that magnitude with a simple decision to put Tim Duncan in, which he should have done, he didn't do, ridiculous. 2012, up 2-0 against the OKC Thunder, young Thunder. This is the baby Westbrook. This is the baby Durant. These guys weren't battle tested. Up 2-0. We make fun of Doc Rivers for giving up 2-0 leads, but Greg Popovich, for some reason, gets away with giving up 2-0 leads. He did not adjust when Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook started breaking down their defense. He did not make adjustments when Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili were struggling to score. For a great coach of Greg Popovich, who we always say makes the right adjustments in game, in that series against OKC Thunder, he made another mistake. Mistake after mistake. That's back-to-back years with the San Antonio Spurs. Could have won championships. They should have beat the OKC Thunders, made the finals, and against the Heat that year, they should have won it in Game 6. 2 seasons back-to-back, 2 champions given away. Pat Riley, he never gave away 2 championships in back-to-back years. We're talking about back-to-back years where, hey, if they win those 2, it could have been another 3-peat. They won the next year after that. He gave away a 3-peat. We're talking about what a 3-peat could have done to his legacy added to the championship he already had. 7 championships. What are we talking about then? Tim Duncan might have been the greatest all-time conversation. Tony Parker would have elevated himself. Manu Ginobili would have elevated himself. Time and time again, Greg Popovich is making mistakes in key moments. 2004, we know what happens. Derek Fisher, 0.4. But guess what? It didn't have to get to that point. Greg Popovich, that game should have been won with Tony Parker and Tim Duncan already. The reason why Derek Fisher even gets 0.4 seconds is because Greg Popovich didn't tell his team to use up all the clock. Leaving 0.4 seconds to the Lakers is a mistake an amateur makes again. Greg Popovich, time and time again, in key moments. We're talking Western Conference Finals and the NBA Finals. This is not the first round, second round, regular season. Big moments. He made key mistakes that cost him team championships. 3 championships could have been won with simple decisions that could have been made.
What are the times when he should have won that he didn't win? Like, so for example, in 2013, just so we're clear, as much as you talk about Greg Popovich taking Tim Duncan out, so we're clear, if Kawhi Leonard makes those free throws, ice the game, game's over. We win the NBA championship. But instead, he misses those free throws as a young player. That's not Greg Popovich's fault. Yeah, I understand that Greg Popovich took Tim Duncan out of the game, but he also went small because he wanted his best free throw shooters in the game during that time, which would explain why Kawhi Leonard was in the game. He was one of their best free throw shooters. Now, in 2010, when they ended up losing in the first round, Tim Duncan was hurt. So he ain't have really nothing to do with that. But then they ended up winning it again in 2014. In 2015, Duncan was old. You want to talk about giving championships away? How about the fact that the Lakers win the NBA championship in back-to-back seasons in 87 and in 88? What does Pat Riley do in 89 when they get back to the NBA Finals? He runs them into the ground. Byron Scott tears his hamstring in practice, and I don't even have Byron Scott for the NBA championship. We get swept in the NBA championship. Before that, we had very much a shot to win the NBA championship. It's definitely Pat Riley.
1 minute, Jalen, go.
Let's talk about Pat Riley's failures. We're talking about a guy who lost 5 championships, 5 losses in the NBA Finals to Greg Popovich's only one. Pat Riley, you see some of the mistakes that he made weren't really his fault, though. He ran into great teams. He was running into Detroit Pistons, all-time great team. He was running into Michael Jordan and the Bulls, all-time great teams. Now you're talking about Greg Popovich. He lost to a young OKC Thunder, like I said. He lost to a team that no way in any way, shape, or form should have beat him. And then with the Miami Heat, look, LeBron was great, but that wasn't the greatest. That wasn't the greatest D-Wade series. LeBron was great that series. Wasn't the great Bosh series. He lost to a Miami Heat that still hadn't won yet together. That was still had to make that leap, and he allowed them to make that leap and them to reach even greater heights after that. Greg Popovich were making mistakes with lineups, making mistakes in the last 10 seconds of the game with lineups. And guess what? Maybe he should have put Kawhi Leonard to practice those free throws during practices. He should have done that.
All right, Ori, you first.
Well, I'd say that was super fun by doing the swap. We haven't done that yet. That was
Caught me off guard.
Great call, catching him off guard. Yeah, that was a blast. His face, man, that makes high quality television. But I'm just gonna say that I was leaning Jalen at first just because I liked his energy. His energy was palpable. He was really getting into it. But Chilltown at the end of the day just came with the better arguments. And Jalen, you kind of lost me when you said that Tim Duncan shouldn't have left 0.4 seconds on the clock. I don't know if you could blame Popovich for Tim Duncan making a basket that should have been a game winner.
That's coaching.
Like 9 times out of 10. So I don't know if we can blame him for that.
So who you got?
I got Chill.
You got Chill. Chris?
Yeah, I got Chill as well. Yeah, because of the 0.4 second, but also the fact I could be wrong, but I don't even know if you mentioned that the Spurs lost to the Grizzlies in 8 seed as well. Like that would have really strengthened the argument. I think that, if anything, is one of the bigger indictments on Spurs than anything.
So since you both picked Chill and he won, I'll just say Jalen. I'll give him a throwaway vote so he doesn't get swept. Although Chill did win the debate, I would have given it to Chill if he would have said Riley should have had 4 more chips because he stays on as head coach of the Heat when they get LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. They win 4 in a row. You wouldn't have had to say anything else. I would have said it's a wrap. All right. So that round goes to Hoots.
It'd be like that. I got confused. That last round, I almost started arguing for Pat Riley and caught myself.
That's what I was thinking. I was
like, wait, hold on. I got 5 losses. Why they say that? I was like, why they say that? I was like,
I don't think he knows who he's debating. So, so we're gonna throw in another curveball. We're gonna throw in a 4th round. This one, I don't know who we're debating. The debate is Magic Johnson versus Steph Curry. Jay would like to challenge Fluent and Chill. Welcome to the stage, Jay. Unmute your mic, and then we can make sure that it's working.
Jay, what's up, brother? We can't hear you, brother. You muted. Let's see if we can get you hot again.
I don't think it's muted.
No. Yeah, we just had him a second ago. I think he's blocked.
We'll be good in a second.
Yeah.
So this is what I know. We're looking at Steph Curry versus Magic. It seems like you know Jay Chill. So do you think
I do.
he's looking for Steph or for Magic?
No, Steph is his guy. He's a Curry
Steph
guy.
is his guy?
He's a Curry and Warrior guy. Nah, you still
Okay.
Matt- up.
What about
Also
now?
had a-
Now you hot.
There we
Now
go.
you hot.
good.
Yeah,
All right.
now you hot. Now you
All right.
hot.
So judges, Jay, welcome. So tell us about the debate. Why you want to do this? What do you believe?
I believe that
Don't give away your points, but
Steph is a superior player. It's something that I've been an advocate for a very, very long time. When I started my TikTok, that was kind of the first basketball take that I had that went a little viral. So I've argued this on a few different platforms. So I got to bring awareness. Steph doesn't brag, so I got to do the bragging for him.
okay.
Humble Steph.
Yes.
All right. So put 3 minutes on the clock. Somebody. Do you want to
Yeah.
go first? Do you want us to go first? It's your call because it's your debate.
I'll go second.
You'll go second. All right. So the way we're gonna do it, because it's 2 versus 1, if we want to have the same amount of time. So give us 3 minutes, then give him 3 minutes. Jay, I'm gonna let you start, but I'll jump in.
3 minutes total, or 3 minutes? 3 minutes each.
3 minutes no, we gotta have this. We gotta be fair. So 3 minutes,
3 minutes
for us,
total.
and then
3 minutes total. Got it. Cool. Okay. Cool.
So I'm not on the fence about this. I think Magic is better than Steph Curry. The numbers, not just the numbers as a league guard prove it. I mean, him as a point guard proves it. I mean, he's the ultimate floor leader. He's the ultimate distributor. He's the ultimate playmaker. Bigger, better in transition. In addition to being better in transition, he was a fantastic clutch player. Has bigger moments. He's had meltdowns in the finals, 100%, but he's also had great moments. And those great moments, I think that they outweigh everything else that he's already done. And he's won on so many different levels. When I talk about being an all-time great, I am one of those people who I stand on the logic that you have to do it for a long time and you have to do it right from the beginning. It took Steph Curry a while to get acclimated to the league. Magic Johnson showed up and he was awesome right from the beginning, and he stayed awesome right from the beginning. We're talking about, I believe 8 out of 9 straight years, or 9 out of 10 straight years. He was first team All-Pro. He was the best league guard in the game, and it wasn't a question. That wasn't a question whether or not he was. Even when Isaiah Thomas was what he was, even when John Stockton was what he was, it was still Magic Johnson is the best league guard in the game. He performed in the playoffs. Not only did he perform in the playoffs, when Magic lost Jabbar, not lost him, but I'm saying when Jabbar ended up taking the back seat, Magic ended up being even more lethal. I mean, we had a 5-year stretch from 1986, 87 to 1991. That's 21-12 on ridiculous efficiency. I mean, if we had those kind of numbers today, we'd be looking at something completely different. I think Magic clears Steph Curry as a league guard.
And when we look at a player, so that's lead guard specific. Let's look at a player. We're talking about a guy who comes into the league and is the finals MVP, leads his team to a championship year 1. So he took his team to championships and won championships at the beginning of his career, in the middle of his career, and at the end. Let's remember, if it wasn't for HIV, his last season that he played, I'm not counting the fat guy that came back in 95, he takes that team with injuries that everyone said was too young, with Eldon Campbell and Vlade Divac, and no, what was that team? Eldon Campbell, Byron Scott, old young guys. He still takes them to the NBA final and puts up a solid fight against the Bulls, which were the heir apparent. The other thing is, we're talking about players. So here's a guy who's as good a scorer. Okay, he's not a good shooter. Listen, Steph's the best shooter in the world, no problem, in history. But he can score from multiple positions, from the mid-range. He's almost a 90% free throw shooter. He can score in the post. So his scoring is just as good. He is a better rebounder. He is a better passer. He's a better playmaker. He is, although both of their defenses aren't great, because of his size, he's actually a better defender, because with Steph, people attack Steph. People have talked about year after year how you attack Steph because he's little, his ankles, he can't really do much. But with Magic, you could put him on a 3, a 4, a 5, because he's big and strong, and he could take, if he goes against the power forward, which typically is the lowest scoring position, no problem. He can bang in there. So now you got a guy who's just as good of a scorer, who's a better passer, a better playmaker, a better rebounder. So he does everything else aside from shooting, which, let's be honest, he's not a bad shooter. Now, he came into the league not being able to shoot from outside, but by the end of his career, when you look at the first 8 seasons, he shoots half a 3 a game at a low percentage. Who cares? by the end of it, when he's shooting 2, 3, 4 game, he's shooting 35, 36, 37%. So he actually becomes a good outside shooter as well. And guess what? At 6'9", he also led the league in steals a couple of times. So he's a better, although not good, but still better defender, better rebounder, better passer, better assister, just as good a scorer, and more versatile because he can do things in the post as well. Sorry, I think you said time up. So
No worries.
Okay.
All right, so I have a lot to address there, but I could start with this. I got to point out some of the fallacies in both of your arguments. I think you guys try to conflate them and both say that they're equal scores or comparable of scores, when in fact that's just not true. When you look at their playoff averages and NBA Finals averages, there's a large gap there. So when it comes down to scoring, it's not even close. Number one, you guys have discounted the entire 3-ball, which you just used in your argument for the Warriors versus the Bulls, when you always said a good 3 is better than 2. So when it comes down to scoring, it's not close. From the free throw line, from the mid-range, at the rim, Steph's efficiency is better. And at the three-point line, again, this is not an argument. The largest gap here that we're going to discuss is really when it comes down to playmaking and passing. But the idea of making a good pass is to get a great shot. But one thing that you have to take into account when you talk about Steph Curry is not just what the number is, but what we're watching. Who else can create a better shot than Steph Curry? Whether he's doing that on an inverted ball screen, whether he's doing it on a fast break where guys are forced to double and leave Kevin Durant streaking down the middle to dunk the ball, no one creates better shots for an offense than Stephen Curry. And some of those things we can't even equate or put into numbers. And then you also talked about something about Steph getting started in the league. He wins his first championship in year 6, just like Jordan did. He dealt with injuries. He dealt with not starting. But once he was good, he was as good as it gets. You talk about 2 back-to-back MVPs. You talk about a unanimous MVP, something that is recognizable where all the media recognizes this is the guy. Then we have to talk about elevating a franchise. Magic is drafted to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers have always been the Lakers, and he's playing with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Stephen Curry's not drafted to a team that had championship expectations, but once he had them, he was there year after year after year. He's won with different iterations of the roster. With KD, without KD, you have 2022 where he carries a team to a championship. He's done more with less than Magic ever did. He won a championship without another player even averaging 20 points per game. He goes into the Boston Garden and drops 40 in the biggest game of his career. So I think we like to discount what Steph can do scoring, and we like to discount what he can do passing. And then when you just look at what someone's done from start to finish, Magic is the ultimate Laker, but Steph is the ultimate NBA guy. He's just as big as a story. And it's even more of a story because he wasn't supposed to be that. Magic was supposed to be that guy since when he was at Michigan State. He was the man. Steph became that. So I think when you look at the storyline, when you look at the accolades, Magic has more first-team All-NBAs, but I think Steph means more because he went up against better competition at the guard spot. You're going up against other MVPs like James Harden and Russell Westbrook. When Magic Johnson goes against other guards like Isaiah Thomas, he gets swept. Steph has never been swept in the playoffs. Magic has been swept multiple times. So when you look at the lowest of lows, like you said, that name Tragic Johnson, he earned that name for a reason.
So rewind. So let's start the conversation. I know I only got a minute, so let's start. So the Lakers had not always been the Lakers. When Magic got there, they hadn't been in the NBA championship in 11 years. So no, they haven't always been the Lakers. They had a huge low for almost a decade. That's number one. Number two, Steph Curry, when you just talked about the first team all pros. Okay, so Steph Curry, we got guys like Damian Lillard being first team all pro when he's running around. We got guys like Russell Westbrook being first team all pro when he's running around. That wasn't going on when Magic was running around. He was
they're better than the competition.
He was their lead guard. That's number two. Number three, when you're talking about creating shots, my job as the lead guard, first and foremost, is to create shots for everybody else. Nobody did that better than Magic, which would explain why he was an all-time assist leader when he left the game, because I can speed the game up more than anybody, and I am fantastic in transition. I'm not good in transition. I am fantastic in transition, which would explain why all of these guys, James Worthy, Jabbar, AC Green, all of these guys ate on my watch. Them dudes can't say that they ate on his watch. And since you're bringing up players, I mean, can you, as good as Jabbar was, even though he was on the other side of his career, can you imagine Magic getting, in addition to having who he had with Jabbar, can you imagine him getting Moses in addition to that? Like Steph Curry ended up getting Kevin Durant. So I'm going to leave it there, Tone.
Well, I just, it's funny. You brought up Curry scored, dropping 40 in the Garden. So Magic in his rookie season loses Kareem and goes to an NBA final game 6 in Philly and drops 42, 15, and 7 as a rookie to win an NBA finals. What happened when Steph Curry lost KD in the final? Oh, he lost to the Raptors. So he was able to continue being great even when he lost his great player. So you can't use that. Then you brought up accolades, and I noticed you mentioned, oh yeah, he has more all first NBA teams. Well, you failed to mention he also has more MVPs, more finals MVPs, more obviously more assist titles. He only averaged, I want to say 4, maybe 5 points less per game because you brought up scoring, but he also averaged like 3-4 more assists. He averaged 3-4 more rebounds. So like we said, an overall better player than Steph Curry. Look, it's not, and the things you brought up, yeah, you got to bring up shooting. You got to bring up shooting because you have the greatest shooter of all time. I've got the greatest point guard of all time and the better player. And more chips if that matters to the people that care about titles.
And by the way, and before we move any further, you talked about Tragic Johnson. So we cannot forget 2015, 2016, the biggest meltdown in NBA history in the NBA championship.
3-1 lead, 73
Please don't leave that out. That's very important to mention that. The biggest match. Your turn. My fault, Jay. You got it. You got it, Jay.
Okay. So no, it's all right. It's all good because I got a few things I want to get at. So again, shot creation. What Steph does cannot be quantified. They actually invented the stat gravity right now, which he's still leading in year 16 or 17 in the NBA. They had to create a stat to track how much he impacts players. When you talked about Jabbar and all of these guys and AC Green, Stephen Curry made Draymond Green a Hall of Famer. Look at what Draymond Green is without Curry. He doesn't even want to play in the game. He doesn't even want to play. He gets injured and wants to sit out an entire season. He's benched for Luis Santos right now because Steph is injured. Okay. And yes, Magic does have, he has one more ring. But again, he did that with Jabbar. Jabbar is better than Kevin Durant. I think we can all acknowledge that. And even when KD goes down, you happen to also leave out that Klay Thompson went down as well. And then the Raptors were guarding him with the triangle and 2. No one's ever guarded another player in the NBA like that. Not even Michael Jordan, who's the best player ever. So there's never been a player who's had to be guarded like Stephen Curry. What he does to the defense, having to guard as soon as he steps across half court. Come on now. That we all have to recognize that Magic is great. I think Magic is one of the 5 best players of all time. But I think what Stephen Curry brings to the table is just more than what Magic does. The competition level that he played from the guard position. We can't ignore that. Like I said, Russell, Harden, Rose, Lillard are better than the guards who played in Magic's heyday. And like I said, when Magic went up against Isaiah, what happened? He got him out of there in 4 games.
You mean when he was injured and didn't play?
Yeah, that's unfair.
Okay, so then we can take it to another final.
Is that time? What we doing? That time?
You still got 20 seconds. You still got 20 seconds.
Okay, so we can talk about the Bulls. It was 4-1 with the Bulls. He lost to the Celtics. He got swept by the Sixers. It happened.
Yes, sir.
It happened.
Yeah,
2015, Steph was also injured.
Scott, James Worthy was hurt. Yeah, he lost 4-1 to the Bulls. Sure. And you're calling a sweep when he didn't even play. Yeah, okay.
We got it.
Hey, okay. This is a good one.
All right.
Yes, sir.
This was a good one. Look, I've seen a lot of guys come up and try and debate Chilltown and Fluent. And Jay, you the best one there. I ain't gonna lie. Out of all the
Jay no scrub, yo. I don't know if y'all know who Jay is. I know who Jay is. I know Jay.
It's over, and the judges already made up their minds. I will tell you, Jay, I'm impressed because most people come up and they get nervous and they're like, and they don't. You came prepared. You came ready.
And look, but the Steph versus Magic argument, I usually lean. I usually lean towards the Magic side, but Jay made the best argument for Steph that I could remember. So hey, Jay, you did your thing. So I'm gonna be charging you. You're being charged with violence against the elderly because you cooked them past them. You sent Chilltown and flew into the retirement home, packed them up. They go into the retirement home. Jay winning this one, baby. He allowed back anytime. That was a nice cook job, Jay. I'm not like that was very impressive.
He might replace you if you keep talking. Hey, go ahead.
I know, right?
This can't replace his face. Stop playing with me.
Yeah. So, anyways, I thought that was great. Way to go, Jay. That was awesome. Thanks for stepping to the plate 100%. To be 100% honest, though, I do have to give it to Chilltown and Fluent, just strictly based on the principle that you really leaned into the shot creation gravity argument a little heavy-handed for my liking. The gravity thing with Steph, even though it's palpable, is kind of a regurgitated argument. I would have liked to hear something maybe a little fresher when it came to his position. I don't know. I like what you did to frame the shooting as the thing, but maybe I don't know. It was I like the all around piece from the other guys.
Hey, the making Draymond a Hall of Famer is facts. I'm not gonna hold you.
I didn't get to rebuttal. Magic made Michael Cooper a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, true enough.
You should have brought that up. You should have brought that up.
Should have brought it up.
Saved it for the end. He saved it for the end. I didn't get a chance. That was smart.
Yeah, obviously, great things on both sides of the office. Sure. I usually tend to lean Magic in my list. I have Magic 6 all time. I have stats 10th all time. So heard great things on both sides, including with Fluent and Chill, factoring in the fact that he's the better lead guard and like that's what you do, revolutionize the position. He's the more versatile defender. But then Jay came in swinging with some even better points in my opinion. Like obviously he brought up the gravity, which I know we kind of poo-pooed on, but it's something that I tend to enjoy because it provides a lot more context. He also brought up the Tragic Johnson motion as well. So it's by a hair, and Jay, I promise it's not just because you're coming on my show next week. It's because you did do a great job. So I'll give the edge to Jay here too.
Excellent.
Jay with the W with the roll win.
Well deserved.
He's coming on your show next week. Hold on.
Throw the flag.
Jay's coming on your show next week, and that's why you privately text me and said we need to bring Jay up.
I'm on the show with you every week. Come on. If I really
call Tim Donaghy, what's going on?
You get the Tim Donaghy of refs, exactly. What's going on here?
I'll give it up. I'll give it up to Jay.
Salute, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys letting me come up. Thank you.
I'm still, just so you know, I'm mad at you because you made me go up against Steph, who is my son's favorite player. So after he watches this, I'm gonna go get in trouble for my kid. So we'll have
you raised a good young man.
Yeah. I appreciate you, brother.
All right, no doubt.
Oh man, that was good. See, those are the kind of guys that I like coming on the show. He came with his topic. He came prepared. He had his talking points, and you know what he did that was very smart. With Steph, there's only two things you can talk about: is the gravity thing, which I think it's a little crap, but anyways, and the shooting. And he, or you didn't like it, but what else do you have, right? You have to lean into that because he's the greatest shooter of all time. So that's smart. That's good.
Just so y'all know, y'all got bamboozled. Jay is with House of Highlights. That's who he is.
Yeah,
he's
experienced.
That's who he is, though.
He's not a regular. He's not a casual.
Just got bamboozled. Yeah, he's from House of Highlights.
I don't know anybody.
That's who Jay is. Yeah, he's from.
He was 2 weeks ago the episode came out. He was it's usually one fan versus 10 haters. He was the one Gen Zer versus 10 old heads, and he did a phenomenal job there.
Jay.
I might have to prep and go up against him again. At least I got to argue something I agreed with for once. I think that's the first time in 3 weeks I got a topic that I actually liked.
Every now and then it's okay to do that.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm just gonna start. Anytime you guys give me that now, I'm just gonna pull you guys in. Do it yourselves. All right, cool. So that's it for this week. Are you ready? Are you ready for the outro?
Oh yeah.
Come check us next week, 8:30. Fluent versus Chill versus everybody. We debate, you debate, we all debate. We'll see you next week, and you're gonna like the
stage is set. Diversity of takes, nothing but buckets of debate. Thanks to Sports Fluent, Chilltown Hoops, All-American Hoops, Hoop Social, and Jalen Carter Music. Fluent versus Chill versus everyone. The internet's best sports debate show. Subscribe now. Stay heated. Stay hooping.
Now you're more fluent.